This right here, right now. What is this present moment? What is this experience that's happening? How is it happening? Where is it happening? What is it happening within? What's it made of? What is experiencing it? I mean, these questions are pretty interesting. And, the answers are not readily givable in English. They're not readily givable in terms of our superficial philosophies. But the answer is right here. Look and see what it is. Look and see what's experiencing your experience right now. Look and see what's being experienced. Here it is. There's nothing in the way of it, right? Light is appearing in your consciousness, right? What is it? What's the light? Yeah.
I'd like to know your opinion about reincarnation.
Well, it's opening a whole conceptual can of worms. To look into reincarnation, you have to know what incarnation is in the first place, which is what I'm suggesting. So what I would say is first find out what incarnation is, and then you can worry about what reincarnation is. Are you in a body?
I am in a body.
Are you?
Well, it's what I define as body.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Well, look into what that mechanism is. Look into what's actually happening there. Is what I would suggest. And you might, the more you learn about incarnation, the more you might know about reincarnation. But to answer your question more directly, there's only one thing happening. It's always the same. It never stops. It's timeless and spaceless. It's what, in the Vedas is called Satchidananda, being, consciousness, energy. This is what's happening right here, right now. Self-evidently, there's being, right? No one disagrees with that. There's consciousness. It's pretty self-evident. And there's energy. All this sound and fury. So that's happening. You go to sleep, what is there? There's being, there's consciousness, there's energy. It's dreams, or is more subtle experience in deep sleep. So, is that ever not happening? Is there ever a time when Satchidananda is not happening? And is Satchidananda in time? Or is it just a constant within which what we call time seems to appear? So the answer to your question is reincarnation is Satchidananda. Incarnation is Satchidananda. That's a technical term. But it's always the same thing happening. It never stops. It never starts. There's no beginning to it. There's no beginning to the present moment. It's always now, and it now doesn't have a beginning, and it certainly doesn't have an ending. And you brought up the issue of traveling in my body. I never travel in my body. My body travels in me. When I move my hand, the hand is moving in my consciousness. Is the consciousness moving? It doesn't go anywhere. When I walk, walking is a way to make the world move in my consciousness. The consciousness never goes anywhere. It's always right here. It's always right now, right? So bodies move, environments move, worlds move. I don't ever move. And I bet it's the same for you if you notice it.
Well, it seems like you're looking at it from just another perspective, but both are valid and true.
How are they both? What's the evidence for that both are true?
Well, if I determined, it's kind of like the laws of physics. When you're driving through a car, is the world going by you at 55 miles per hour, or are you in the car going 55 miles per hour? It depends on what your reference point. You determine what it is.
Yes, but which reference point is imaginary and which reference point is actual?
Neither one.
Neither one?
Yeah.
What's your actual experience? Are you always in the center of your experience?
So I'm defining my reference point as me.
You don't need to define. I'm not asking you to define anything. When you don't define anything whatsoever, okay, where are you?
I'm right here.
Yes. Okay. You're moving in a car at 70 miles an hour and you don't define any reference points. Where are you?
I'm in the car.
You're right here.
Well, we're going into imagination.
Well, yes, we are for the sake of discussion.
Yeah.
Suppose we were sitting in a car
then I would be right here.
And you'd be right here. If the car was parked, you'd be right here. If the car was going 75 miles an hour, you'd be right here. If the car was, exploding, you'd be right here. Right? So the here-ness, the here-ness of you is a prime fact. It's not subject to, you can't define it out of existence. You can erect an imaginary notion that there is an objective world and there's relative motion as the objective world, and you're inhabiting a little body that moves around in this objective world, and the objective world is somehow stable and static and solid, and you are not so much. But your actual experience is you're always right here. And your actual experience is the world moves. Right?
Yes.
So that's the prime fact. Right? That's the prime data.
That's the actual experience, but
Yes.
why do you say that that's a prime fact?
Well, what other prime fact is there? How do you know the world, how do you know you exist at all, except for your experience? I mean, how can you know? First there has to be experience, and then there can be subsequent knowledge, then there can be subsequent ideas, then there can be interpretations, then there can be, am I a human being or am I a fish? You have to be before you can ask that question. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So the being is primary, and being consists of or includes what we generally call, what we loosely call experience. So that's why I call it a prime fact, because without that fact, all other facts don't exist. And all other facts and all other theories exist within that fact. I mean, all the facts you know, all the people you know, all the theories you know, and all that exist in your consciousness, right?
What is the relationship of my individual with other? Because
Very good question. When you here's a thought experiment. Suppose it's nighttime and you're sound asleep and you're dreaming that you're in New York or something, and you're walking down the street and you're talking to people, and and all of a sudden a big car goes racing by 75 miles an hour with someone, and you're wondering whether or not they're in the car or the car's moving. What is your relationship to any of that? All of that seems to be other, right? What's your relationship to it?
well, all of it is me because it's all in my head.
Isn't that interesting? How can you prove or know for sure that this experience right now is in any way different than that experience?
I can see that point, but like everything, that inner interaction I have with people is all through interpretation of my own mind.
Yes.
So.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes, it is interesting.
Yeah, I find it fascinating. And then that gives us a frame of reference to try and reassess all of this from a different context. Like I said in my opening remarks, we're used to sort of starting with the assumptions of the world and ourselves and other people and all of this stuff more or less as a given, and we don't question it. And then the questions we ask are over the top of that, taking that as the given, the objective fact, and then we ask questions that are fine points or interpretations of that. What I'm suggesting is, why not question that stuff? And then that opens the investigation on a whole nother level. Let's go back to our dream. You're in New York, you're talking to a bunch of people. You can have very empathetic communication with these people. The fact that they're you, it doesn't change the fact. Or you can have a total failure of communication and break out into a fight and start beating each other up.
Would that come down to your relationship with yourself?
Yes. Absolutely. It comes down to your relationship with your own energy, with your own being. And, that's why it's said in many spiritual traditions that a sage who finds harmony in themselves finds harmony in the world.